Hey rivals, Professor Ehrin and Caleb here, and it's Friday. That means it is time for Team Shadow Talks. All right, today we are going to continue on our trend this week of talking about Eternatus V. So I wanted to have a point to talk about this, and I kind of wanted this to be a little bit more informative, almost like a learn to play. And what I wanted to do is we spent a video that should be out later today, if you're watching this very first thing, at 3 p.m. on Friday. It's going to premiere our build of Eternatus V. But I wanted to give you a little bit of a preview of that build. But more importantly, I wanted to really go in depth and explain the process that we went through to get it. Because on the video, it looks pretty fast after watch the video, and we don't really explain a lot of things. So I want to talk about a keyword whenever we're building a deck, and that keyword is synergy. What that means is every card is working together. So I have a whole bunch of cards in this deck, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick one out randomly here, and we're going to see what it does. I'm not looking here, I'm picking out that one. What did I pick?
Ordinary Rod.
Ordinary Rod. We put Ordinary Rod in there because
we want to get those Eternatuses back and the energy.
We want to get Eternatuses and energy back, more specifically the energy itself. We may need to put that back in the deck because there's a lot of decks that are hammering off energy.
Yeah, like Vikavolt and Decidueye.
So we got that. We're also playing against a potential Decidueye, and so we've got Spiritomb and Hoopa in here, but we may need to play those again. So we may need to have an Eternatus V or VMAX up to stall while we wait to get this card, get those back into the deck, and then get them back into play. So Ordinary Rod is kind of a tech card more for playing certain styles of deck. Let's go again. What else do I have in here? Let's see, not looking. Here, Caleb, pick a card. Watch him pick the same one. Cynthia Caitlin. We chose Cynthia Caitlin because we cannot play Eldegoss, and we have some one-off supporters in here. Specifically, we have one copy of Channeler. If we're playing against Item Lock, we're going to want to use 2 copies of Channeler. So Cynthia Caitlin is in here to potentially reuse this Channeler. If not,
you can get more Boss's Orders.
More Boss's Orders is always a good thing. Another Pierce, which we found to be a very, very strong card in this deck, to the point we actually upped the count to 4. So my point being, every single card in your deck should have a purpose. There should be no junk in there. There should be no card when I ask, hey, why did you put this card in here? I ask that a lot to new players when I see their deck. Why did you put this card in here? Well, because it's big and because I like it. But is it doing anything for your deck? And the idea of a good deck versus a collection of Pokemon cards is it all must work together. Now, how do you do that? How do you know what are all the good cards? And I say use your resources.
Yeah, you have tons of resources like the Pokemon Online game. You can just click Show Not Owned, and you can look through all the cards, see if there's anything that sticks out to you.
There's also a filter section on there that allows you to filter by standard, or maybe actually just recently we were looking for a potential build coming up after the next set drops. We're already looking at that, but I needed a fairy type or normal type Pokemon that was basic, big enough, had a good attack, and used a single energy attack. So you can filter down to that level, or what I like to do is I actually like to filter all the Pokemon with abilities and just kind of use it like, hey, I might need a tech card. Let's see what some good tech cards are currently in format. And if you don't have that card in person, you don't physically have it, then you know you can ask your friends, hey, I'm looking for this card, whatever it may be. All right? After that, and you'll see the videos coming up, you want to test some more, keep testing.
Yeah, we've made, what, 3 videos so far? And had a few videos that we couldn't upload.
After every video, we've made some changes to this deck because we've noticed something that was or wasn't working, was or was not working.
But if it doesn't work once, sorry, I kind of cut you off, but if it doesn't work once, that doesn't mean it's worthless. It means you might want to play it again to see if it's worth it.
Absolutely correct. So just because something doesn't work one time or it bricks, whatever the case may be, give it another shot because you never know. It may have just been a bad hand, but that goes back to synergy as well. And synergy says that every card should work together, but you shouldn't need 5, 6, 7 cards in your hand in exactly the right order to pull anything off. Eternatus is a great example. In order to attack,
Ooh, that's just the V.
I need to get this VMAX into the active spot with 2 energy on it. So we've got cards like Pierce that allow me to pull the VMAX and an energy. We've got cards like Marnie that allow us to shuffle our hand, draw 5 more.
Slow your opponent down too.
Right. Crobat is here to draw cards. We've got things like Quick Ball to draw that. Pokemon Communication to trade in for that VMAX. We've got Ordinary Rod to put stuff back in. We're also playing Capture Energy in here, which provides both energy and power. Hiding Energy, so if we need to retreat it. So all of these things are designed specifically to either get energy onto Eternitive's VMAX so we can start attacking, or if I can't do that, to somehow damage or do something like the Zigzagoon is there to place extra damage counters. You can place...
Even the Spiritom's pretty good late game because you can have put 4 or 5 damage counters on it and hit for 160. A lot of these bigger VMAXs can take 2 hits, but a big 160 is always really nice.
It is always nice, especially if you're wearing them down and they retreat. Bosses orders it up. Use the Spirit Tomb for 1 energy. You're absolutely there.
It is a 1-prizer too. That's always nice.
So as you're testing, and like I said, we were testing some things and we noticed that we needed more copies of Piers and we needed more copies of Marnie. I think we took out, what, Professor's research?
Yeah, there's no research in here.
There's no research in here, and I think we took that out because we found there was no need to discard. We have a lot of direct search with Piers, Capture Energy, and Quick Ball and Pokemon Communication. So there's really no need to have just discard your hand and draw more. And then the Crobats help with that. So test, make edits. Next thing is take advice. You know, put this out. We do have a Rivals of Red Facebook group. Feel free to post your deck list and say, hey guys, what do you think of this list? What can I do to make it better? And take advice, but make it yours. Just because somebody tells you to do something doesn't mean you have to do that. It means you should try it. And if it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you.
Adding on to that, it doesn't matter who it comes from. I learned actually from Professor Ehrin himself is that you can learn something from everyone, and it doesn't matter who it is. Makes it a lot easier if you ask everyone instead of asking a small group of people.
Right. Just because you may think that you're better than someone doesn't mean you can't take advice from them. Another fun trick that we do all the time, I got a piece of paper here and I'm going to show you. So you don't have a card, all right? Let's say you didn't put Professor's Research in here because you wanted Professor's Research, but you don't have one. Well, then what you do is... you take this, and now guess what? You have a Professor's Research in your deck. You don't have to change it out. You don't have to change anything. We do this a lot when we're testing. I go, you know what? I don't need 4 scoop-up nets, but I really, really, really want that second Ordinary Rod. So at one point, we just threw a thing into the scoop-up net and said, Ordinary Rod.
Yeah, we even did that with some of those battle videos we did, I think.
Yeah, we did have some proxy cards in there as well.
With the Vikavolt Vs.
Yep. So, and the last thing is know the meta. Part of building a deck, you can make something that works in your mind, and it works when you play it through 100 times, but if it doesn't play well against the decks that you see in your area, the meta is basically the current decks that are being played either at your league or at challenges and tournaments or even online. And if this deck doesn't have something to counter that. For example, there's a Decidueye format that if it becomes active, you can no longer attack with your V or GX Pokemon.
Yeah, if that Decidueye wasn't around, I'd probably change that Spiritomb to the Absol that adds onto the...
Right. I probably wouldn't be using the Spiritomb, but the Spiritomb and the Hoopa are in this deck specifically to counter the Decidueye. The Channeler is in here specifically to keep you from being item locked because there's a potential to be item locked from Vikavolt. So the Channeler allows you to have another turn. Cynthia Caitlin can get you a second Channeler, so you can have 2 to 3 turns of using items, and that could be game winning. in a deck like this. So some of these cards are in here because of the meta, because we know what decks that other people are playing. Some of these cards are in here because they support the main attacker, which is Eternatus V, and all of these cards are in here with a purpose. There's nothing in here that doesn't work towards it. Now, does that mean this is the only deck list? Absolutely not. Does this mean this is the absolute best deck list? I'm going to say no. No, not yet.
I mean, there's some goofy stuff like this Galarian Slowbro here.
Yeah, the Galarian Slowbro is a fun idea, but I don't know if it's going to work yet. We've only tested it a couple times. It seems like a good idea.
It is pretty funny.
It is funny. But at the end of the day, test, and just keep playing. Ask for advice. Make it your own. Don't just go out online and say, well, this is what looks like it's supposed to be the best deck. Just make it yours, because the other part of that is if you know every card that's in the deck because you put it together, you're going to play it better, and you're going to become a better player because of it. Caleb, do you have anything to add?
Nope, I think you hit the nail right on the head.
All right. Well, this has been Team Shadow Talks. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next Friday.
Let us know some of your deck building tips and tricks you've picked up over the years.
And definitely give us a like and subscribe.